Happy Friday, everyone. Hey, it's Eric here with Weather for Weather Geeks. Hope you had a good Friday. Hopefully you did some things indoors today and didn't have to be outside too much because it was pretty nasty out there most of the day today with a cold rain and a gusty wind, and it was just about as dismal as we expected it to be. And when I showed you this graphic yesterday, we were running a deficit for rainfall totals in April, but well, that has changed, of course, a lot over the last 24 hours. Before midnight last night at the airport, 0.42, we added another half an inch or so after midnight during the calendar day today, bringing our total at the airport for this storm pretty close to an inch, but I'm going to show you some higher amounts in just a second. At the airport, 3.05 for the month, 0.12 above average, and about 34% of our rain this month has fallen on Fridays. It's been rainy every Friday, and actually, the rainy Friday streak dates back to March. We've had 7 in a row now with measurable precipitation Fridays. So, you know, we've been able to salvage some decent Saturdays this month, but Fridays have not been so good. All right, here's the radar loop for the last 12 hours, and rain's been coming and going. It was locally heavy for a time this morning, generally pretty light once we got past noontime today and into the second half of the day. Rainfall totals estimated by the radar here, an inch to inch and a half, fairly common. I actually had 1.7 and change at my place in Boardman, and I think that total was fairly representative of this kind of swath, this kind of southwest and northeast swath from Mineral City and Carrollton up through Hanoverton, Salem, Boardman, Struthers, downtown Youngstown, up into Sharon as well. That was the zone of heaviest rain overall over the last 24 hours or so. When I went home from work last night at 11:30, it was absolutely pouring from downtown Youngstown to Boardman. All right, this evening when I'm recording this video, it is 7:11, and we have one more band of showers that's going to pivot through this evening. This actually produced some thunder and lightning earlier and some pea-sized hail west and southwest of Cleveland. Not expecting that to be quite so interesting around here. It'll just be one more band. And then actually once that moves through, it's going to clear out pretty quick tonight. Clear skies this evening out towards Lima and Toledo. That's going to work in for overnight, and that will allow temperatures to drop. All right, kind of an overview of the weekend here before we get into the details. It's going to be a chilly final weekend of April. Only 52 Saturday, 52 on Sunday. Now, that being said, the timing of the weekend rain is pretty decent in that most of it's going to come Saturday night. Now, during the day Saturday, I think we'll get into some sunshine. It's going to be fairly ineffective despite it being very strong here in late April. This is a cool air mass, so lower 50s will do it. Notice our rain chances return as we head towards sunset. I'm going to show you the modeling in just a second, but the first of the showers arrive towards sunset. It'll rain just about all night Saturday night, and then Sunday morning, rain and maybe even some wet snow. Thankfully, gone pretty early in the day, probably by 8 or 9 at the latest. And then we'll break into, actually pretty much a wall-to-wall sunshine, kind of an afternoon Sunday. But again, it's still going to be cool for this time of the year. So, again, our last shower band moves through this evening. Skies clear. Now, north and east of Youngstown tomorrow morning, there may be some stratocumulus clouds coming off of Lake Erie. It may take a while for the sun to come out in Mercer County in particular. For the rest of us, a fairly sunny interval here from mid-morning through early afternoon before the clouds start to lower and thicken later in the afternoon, and showers will come in pretty quickly, I think, towards sunset, 8, 9 o'clock, maybe even as early as 7 in some of our western areas, western Mahoning, Columbia, and Trumbull. But it'll be pretty late in the day before the raindrops arrive. So if you need to mow your grass or do anything outdoors tomorrow, I think you're going to be dry until the very last minute before sunset tomorrow evening. Then, as the colder air wraps in, snow, I think will be seen by some people in our viewing area if you're up early enough on Sunday. Now, I mean, this is early. This is probably 5, 6, 7 a.m. Most people on a Sunday morning aren't up that early, but if you happen to be up that early, would not be surprised if even you had to brush off a little wet coating of snow off of your windshield if your car is sitting out. Wouldn't be shocked by that. That being said, it's gone pretty early and sun will break out quickly in the afternoon. It's just a crisp mid-spring day on Sunday with temperatures again in the lower 50s. Here comes more rain as we kick off the work week on Monday. Now, this will be enough to measure and even shovel in places such as Chicago and Milwaukee, Grand Rapids, Michigan, parts of the Detroit metro area, and even up towards I-90 in northern Ohio from Toledo to Cleveland to Ashtabula. There might be some small accumulations on grassy surfaces coming out of this early Sunday. Now, once you get down closer to I-80, I really don't think there's much sticking to maybe just your windshield. I doubt even grassy surfaces see too much. But again, if you're up early enough, I think you'll see some snowflakes Sunday morning. Then Monday morning, our concern becomes frost and maybe even a freeze in some spots. This is one of our models showing temperatures around 33, 34, pretty common at about 3 o'clock in the morning, Monday morning. Now, that being said, I think temperatures will start to rise towards daybreak on Monday. That may limit the amount of frost, and that temperatures won't be cooling the entire night. It'll be cooling for about 5 hours before temperatures start rising again. The breeze might try to pick up towards Monday morning, and I think that will prevent this from being a hard freeze in most of the area. Some light frost is going to be a possibility, but a hard, damaging freeze, upper 20s, that doesn't seem all that likely. So that being said, out of an abundance of caution, I would certainly bring in any plants that you have outdoors. And if you've got some things planted already, it's pretty early in the season to be doing some planting here in Northeast Ohio, in Western PA. But if you've been a little overzealous, you can cover those things and they should be okay Sunday night and early Monday. So, just a reminder, you can see frost with air temperatures up to 36, 37. We measure the air temperature a few feet above the ground. In the metric system, it's 2 meters above the ground. And there can be an appreciable difference in the air temperature between up a few feet and down along the ground. It can be a few degrees colder at the ground surface than up a few feet. So, with the air temperature at 36, 37, even 38, you can see some frost. Now, freeze, of course, means 32 or lower. And again, I think this is mostly just a light frost coming our way Sunday night. Into Monday morning, boy, I think next week is going to be pretty lousy weather-wise. Not a lot of sunshine. It's not going to be real cold. The weekend will be cooler than next week will be. We'll spend a lot of time in the 60s, but I think sun's going to be hard to come by. I think we've got a pretty good chance for rain starting Monday afternoon, taking us right through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now, any of those days, or most of those days, I should say, I don't think it's going to be a washout, but pretty decent chances for showers will continue, and on top of the inch to inch and a half on average of rain that we've seen over the last 24 hours, we might see another inch or two of rain over the next 7 days. So this this promises to be a pretty unsettled period as we head into May, and you'll see that reflected on the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook compared to average from the Climate Prediction Center, going along with the idea that a lot of places east of the Rockies will be pretty wet. And there's been some cooler trends in the longer range as well. This is the current 8 to 14 day outlook showing not exactly a very balmy pattern as we head into May. And, I showed you last night on this video the latest European weekly long-range forecast, and this kind of goes along with those trends, that the trends have been cooler for the first roughly 10 days of May. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you have a good weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday for a brand new, fresh edition of Weather for Weather Geeks.